Okay, so if you could just say your name, your grade, your major, and if you could spell your name, please.
Hi, my name is Jelani Butler, Jelani, Butler, Butler. I'm a junior here at Quinnipiac University, major in economics, and I work at the Quinnipiac University Polling Institute. A typical day is usually around, they do 2 shifts usually, for about 2.5 hours per shift. You spend most of your time talking to people on the phone. They have a randomly generated number process on a computer system, and you press the button, and you call the person. It depends on the landline. They actually put in a specific number if it's a landline compared to a cell phone.
Okay.
The process usually takes around from 30 seconds to 30 minutes, depending on if someone picks up. A normal day, if no one picks up, you should be expecting around maybe 150 to 200 calls per shift.
Wow.
It's a little bit different because of the fact that a lot of the students tend to get only about 1 or 2 calls per 150 calls that they have during their shift. The shifts can be a little bit strenuous. They're not allowed to have a lot of music. They're not allowed to use their cell phones during the time, and they're only allowed to have maybe, I think, a 10-minute break for the most part. There's different shifts as far as the night shift. There's a night shift that goes from 9:30 to about 12, but those are during the Iowa polling and the different polling out west where the time zones are different. So we have to make sure that we call around the proper times and proper days, and we have to handle the directions that are on the board. There's a lot of different questions that they ask, and we just have to follow the directions on the board.
So what's it like being a student and working at the polling institute?
It's a little different being a student that works at the Polling Institute. What they give you is the same amount of time, but there are also times where you're allowed to leave a little bit early for the proper things that you need to do for your exams and as well. The only difference that makes it a little bit tougher is for the students that don't have the car or the transportation to get there. We do have a shuttle that goes from the orange shuttle that goes from main campus to the Polling Institute to the Yorkville campus back to Liberty Village, back to regular Common Bridge. But that time can be a little bit different, and because there's no specific time set on it, there's been times where students have been waiting for about 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes for that bus. They have been working to make that get better, but I'm not fully sure because since I live in Yorkville, I couldn't just walk.
What about, so it's election time. Obviously, we just had Super Tuesday yesterday. What's it like at the Polling Institute for a big election, for a big event, like the big times?
Yeah, during the election polling season, there's a lot of traffic that we have to be done. There's times where there's the QU site that they cast for different people to make sure they have enough people for the polling. There's been times where they've been demanding more people, so there's been a lot more people. They have 2 different rooms. They have a front room which holds, I think, 140, something like that. And then they have another back room that holds around about 20, 30. So they try their best to make sure that all of those seats are filled and all of them are calling different places to get the people's opinion on what needs to be done and how they feel about the different candidates that we have for each election.
Why do you think the Quinnipiac polls are so popular and people really look at them and follow them so much?
Quinnipiac polls are very popular because of the fact that the statistics that they use and the methodology that they have are very, very specific. They're not just asking for random people. The process that they do is they ask for the person who is of 18 years of age and older. Whoever has the next birthday, that's who they want to call. So it makes it very, very specific, and they give you the opportunity to have non-biased polling opinions, and it's very, very accurate, which almost vividly shows the election polls of what actually happens and what they've already predicted, and they're very, very accurate, and they're very close to what actually happens in real time. So they know what they're doing, and they're doing a great job.
Do you have any advisors that are there, or were you just kind of, trained and then you're on your own?
So they usually do about a day of training. They do a day of training, and they try to make sure that whatever they do, they tell you what to do. For the most part, it's pretty much read the prompter. Try not to deviate from the prompter, but of course people are differently, and people actually have different emotions on the phone, so you have to make sure that you can accommodate them, because it can be a very long test. The testing could go, like I said, from about 30 minutes to 30 seconds if they don't want to pick up or they don't want to answer the phone, to 30 minutes because the process is so long and they want to make sure that they have the full opinion. We have that day of training, but after that they have 4 centralized managers in it, and in the room they have around for other people who are calling the Polling Institute. It's like a little cup, just like a normal business setting. It's like a little cup. You have your own room, and you have a headset. They give you the headset and the mic for it so you can speak to the person. And the main thing they really want to drive home is that you show no bias and you read directly from the monitor, because that gives you the best accuracy for the
How accurate do you think the polls actually are?
I would say they are very, very accurate. Unfortunately, through my experience that I've gotten there, the people that tend to pick up the phone tend to be more informed, which sometimes aren't always the best, because the fact that the more informed, if they only apply to the talk to the polling institute, the less informed who actually still votes, who doesn't give the information. The polling can be different, but it honestly depends on where they are, what area they're talking to, and the people that they talk to at a certain time. But I would say, for the most part, they're probably the most accurate polling institute.
Okay.
So if I'm a voter and I'm looking at the polls, why should I trust the Quinnipiac poll?
You should definitely turn to Quinnipiac polls, because the methodology that they use is very unbiased. They do not ask for a specific person. They do not necessarily talk to the person that's on the poll with them. I can be talking to you on the phone, but when I ask you the question, whoever over 18 will be having their next birthday, that can be your mother. So we're not necessarily talking to somebody who's necessarily the most enthusiastic about it, but they're giving an honest opinion of each specific candidate and each specific matchup and group in the matchup. So it's very, very specific, and it helps everyone get the information that they need to make the best decision for who should be president at the time.
All right, John. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you
problem.
very much.
Thank you so much.
No problem.